Alex Revell, a 4-0 win on Tuesday and a good performance. I imagine the players skipped back up the drive into training today.
Been a positive day. I think that the results and wins give you that. I think the most important thing for us was to maintain momentum from the Northampton obviously win. We were disappointed obviously that Saturday got called off because after the Tuesday win we wanted another game. The players wanted another game. So kind of not having that, we didn't want that to stop, that feeling of winning. So it was important that we put out a team on Tuesday to win the game, and I thought that every single player really performed, to be honest with you, and we fully deserved the win. And today's a good day, but we know that we had to come back in today and get ready for Saturday, because we're back to the league, and we want to make sure that we carry on this momentum and performances that we've been producing over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, before we get on to Stockport, I just want to sort of touch on one or two points you mentioned on Tuesday night and go into a bit more detail on them. And one of them was, you said you're starting to get the squad back together, which therefore increases competition for places and therefore, in theory, increases the performances from the individuals.
Yeah, absolutely. That's you look at the best squads in the best clubs, they have competition, because you have to compete for everything. You have to make sure that every day in training it's competitive, that you turn up every day and be at your best. I think when you don't have the bigger squads, and when you don't have that competition, it's easy just to turn up and expect to play, or to just to maintain just your levels, where when you have competition you have to be at your best. We've noticed that for the last 2.5 years we've had real competition here. It brings out the best in people, and those that don't reach that level might not be good enough for the level, because we need competition. That's what we're all about. And also it allows us to rotate. It allows us to games when we have a 3-game week. It allows us to be able to rotate certain positions, because we know that everybody is fit and competing for places and performing at their best. So really important for us moving forward that we get this squad back together. We saw performances and results drop when we didn't have our heartbeat in the team, and that's not to say that the players that played didn't perform. It's just that we need that. We need our heartbeat. We know what we're about at this football club, and it's so important to get those big players back for us to make sure that when we go into every game, we're at our very best.
The other thing I sort of want to touch on is, you've mentioned this a couple of times over the last few weeks, in that you've changed very slightly how you are playing or how you want to play. Without giving away the trade secrets, what sort of thing is it? Is it just little tweaks, little sort of tinkerings here and there?
Yeah, I think it takes time. Ultimately, we want to have more of the ball. Like that's the way that I want to see us play. That's the way that I think that these players can perform. I think we're saying people really grow. I think that when you look at the likes of Pidge and Nathan at the back, more ball, more forward passes, now diagonals, being able to play through the lines to people, to turn, to slide. Some of the goals I think the last goal on Tuesday was through the pitch, slide, goal. We had so many opportunities through those situations. I think one of the biggest things is just we want to play forward more. I think that there's times to keep it, there's times to build, there's times to have to go backwards, to go forwards, but we want to play with a purpose. And I think we dropped a little bit in terms of getting numbers forward and freeing ourselves a little bit from being that defensive structure that we're so good at and that we've been based on for a long time now. Clean sheets are fantastic for us, but to the consequence of maybe scoring goals and creating chances and getting numbers in the box and getting more opportunities. So I think that's been the big push for us, to make sure that when we have the ball, yes, we want more ball, we want control in the game, absolutely, but we're also doing it with a purpose. And I think that's been a big push over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, individuals, we talked about them as well on Tuesday night, and we mentioned Tyree Simpson and how important his goal was, but Kennebo came on. I thought he was outstanding through that game and playing in a position that perhaps we weren't expecting, sort of a left winger, left inside forward type of position.
Yeah, listen, Ken's a young lad that this is his first loan, and he has to get to learn the pace of it. He has to learn about the group. It takes time for these youngsters to really develop and understand. And you know, every day he asks questions, which is great for us because it keeps us on our toes and make sure, because we want him to go on a pitch and understand. And I think that over the past couple of weeks he's been knocking on the door. We've allowed him to play a couple of games for Norwich because we want him to stay fit and strong. And I think probably when we saw him against Peterborough in the last round of the Virtue, that we probably didn't see the best of him because maybe he wasn't quite fit enough at that level because he hadn't played enough games. So we've allowed him to play, and he scored a fantastic goal for Norwich last week. We've all seen it. He's been speaking about it for the last week. But I think that what he is a 1v1 player. He wants to get at people. He wants to drive forward with the ball, and that's something that we've probably we've lacked a little bit in those types that want to go at people. They want to get the ball at their feet and they want to drive and they want to go 1v1. So he gets you off your feet. He gets you excited. But it's just taken a bit of time, and he's a fantastic kid. Wants to work hard, and we were all delighted for him. And you mentioned Tyrese. We were absolutely delighted for Tyrese because Tyrese has worked incredibly hard, and we all know the frustrations that we all feel for him. But he's a young boy, he's still 22 years old, and he's still learning about himself and what he is. And everybody here, when he scored, you know, he made the first goal with his energy in behind and his strength and his power to get in behind, which we won a corner from and we scored. Then he got his goal, and everyone was delighted for him. So there was, you said there was good individual performance, there was, and he was certainly one of them. But as a team collectively, I think the majority of the lads really performed to their levels, which they have now set, and now they have to deliver more.
Yeah, and I mean, just finally on the individuals, Eli King, he's another one who falls into the bracket of a young lad who's on loan, away from home. He's in a strange place. It's took him a little bit of time, but I thought Tuesday night we saw something about him.
Yeah, I think second half. I think first half he still could have played forward more. I think we're trying to get him to be a bit braver. I think the big thing for Eli is that he needs to learn the nasty side of the game a little bit more. I think in terms of that, what I mean by that is not smashing people, and it's understanding your 50-50 duels and winning your headers and winning that side of the battle. It's so important in any level that you have to understand the basics, and we need to help him improve those. And I thought second half what we saw was a much better performance, a more complete in terms of playing forward, running forward, switches of play, winning his duels. I think the opportunity for Robert came because he won the tackle in the middle of the pitch, and then it ricocheted, and then we ended up getting a slide ball and we should have gone and scored. So moments like that's how important those situations are, and he needs to learn that. But he is getting better. And like you say, anyone that comes from a different club from how far away that is, it does take time. It can be lonely sometimes, but we always try and make sure him and Ken are in the same place together. So it's great for them two to have each other. But the lads here are fantastic at welcoming people, but as long as they see that they're a part of the group, and both of those two are really now showing that they can be a part of the group.
Yeah, and then now moving on to Stockport, and the old cliche in football is, the win on Tuesday won't count for anything if you don't get something out of the game on Saturday. Big game as well, Stockport in great form at the moment.
Yeah, I think they've done really well this year. I think Dave's probably one of those managers that when big jobs come around, he hasn't really get spoken about, but he's done a fantastic job there. I watched them a few years ago when they're in the National League against Barnet, and I thought that day that they blew them away, and I think what they've done over the past couple of years has really shown how good they have been. Listen, they're a big club, in terms of support, in terms of finances, and their aim will be to go up again for sure. But for us, I think they'll be thinking the same. We're a good team. We're a really good team, and we're playing exceptionally well at the moment with the ball, and we're improving. And absolute all respect for them because of what they've achieved and the way they're playing. But we have to make sure that we deliver our performance. And if we deliver our performance, we will give them a top game. And that's what we're all aiming for, because, I agree with you in terms of it won't mean anything, but it means everything at the moment that we're on a momentum, we're building momentum and confidence and belief and courage to play. So absolutely respect them because of what they've done, but we need to make sure that we deliver our performance on Saturday.
And a few selection headaches, I guess, for you as well, with players coming back from injury and everyone putting their hands up for a shirt.
Yeah, and that's what we need. That's what we need. That's what drives performance. That's what drives wins. That competition, we need that here, because when we get it, we've got a fantastic squad. When we get it right, and I would rather have headaches of who to pick than, with players out injured. So it's a great place to be for us to be able to put our strong team out there now and look behind you, and you've got people that you can change a game in an instant or strengthen us depending on what situation we find ourselves in. So delighted to have those back that are coming back. There'll be more hopefully in the near future, and then we'll really hopefully kick on with this team.